Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp of some big changes. Everybody's scared. Everybody's wondering what the hell's going on. I've been looking over the whole internet. I've been looking all over for answers. I want to see the real debriefings. We're getting told this other stuff. It's like, where's the real stuff going on? We're going to try to break this down here on this episode here. As Q has always put stuff out in the past, and then it comes to, this is a post from last year, March Madness incoming. So again, he's telling people before when this is going to happen, and then it comes to pass. We're in a madness right now, folks. Everybody has questions. This virus has been insane. At first, I thought there wasn't much to it, and then all of a sudden, it gets really crazy. It sounds like China's suppressing numbers of how many people are dying. We actually have a report of 21 million fewer cell phone users in China may suggest a high death toll. In China, basically everybody there has a cell phone, and there's been a lot of talk about these crematoriums and stuff, that they've just been burning these bodies, getting rid of them. If you look at I think it's like some kind of there's so much stuff in my head right now, but anyway, there was a radar where they could see that it was organic material being burned. A lot of deaths, and then the whole cell phone. Everybody basically in China has to have a cell phone that's with their social security, and the fact that there's that fewer users has a lot of questions. It's insane. So I'm gonna hit you with the hard stuff here first, folks, because everybody wants to get the big information here. Now, if everything goes the way it's planned, we're gonna have some days of darkness, 10 days of darkness coming up here really quick, and that is supposed to start here on the 31st or April 1st, depending on which way you cut it. But here on screen, we do have a Q proof with the dates. Now, this is real interesting because if you break this down here, we got the first marker starting on the 11th, and that Q's had said done in 30, and that's March 11th verifies first marker. These were posts from Q. This is actually post 26 to show you how early this has actually started. And, now looking like it's coming to fruition. Again, the next marker was the 16th, which was the 15 days to slow the spread. And what do you see all the time when they're doing these press conferences every day, day after day after day? Mike Pence is out and he's always showing that flyer, 15 days to slow the spread. It's almost kind of like a countdown that he wants the people to know that, hey, 15 days we're going to go dark here. And then the 10 days of darkness, what it sounds like it's going to be is basically no internet, no communications, no mainstream media. We will have the emergency broadcasting system, which the president will use to get the message out to the people. This sounds like what'll be the Great Awakening. Everybody's at home. They're not at work for the most part, unless they're essential. Of course, we don't want people to not be able to get food and water and all that stuff. But this is when the message will come out. It'll be broadcast to people. It's supposed to be PG. I did show gave Pete a video to watch that was actually getting into some deep stuff that we will touch upon in this broadcast because it's just too damn important. But the public's going to know the damn truth here real shortly. And if you think about it, this will cause some riots and stuff. That's why we're getting all these, if you want to say we're in kind of a martial law light right now, but we also have the National Guard coming out and going to be all over the street and ready for some chaos when and if it does break out. Important things over here. We got actionable upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta. That's actionable 11/4 or April 11th. This is when it'll be revealed, and it even says it will not be openly accepted. And post 44 from QAnon says Friday he will be sending an important message via Twitter. And it says, look to Twitter, exactly this. My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us, ... And he'll have other stuff that he's going to say with that. When he tweets that out, that is the storm, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is the signal. Get ready for it. It almost kind of makes me wonder, is that going to happen before the 10 days of darkness? According to this, no, it's going to be after that. Because you think of part of the darkness will be these arrests. We can't communicate with people. You can't have the mainstream media saying anything. It'll be like, shutting the blinds, and you open the blinds up and it's a new world. Like, what kind of a tweet is this? We'll be going out in 10 minutes for the press conference. That's kind of another sign to me that he's pushing that 10 number. I just thought that was interesting to show. But right there, I wanted to get this out. Like I said, again, Q, I've been disappointed with some of the stuff in the past, but this has been a slow process. We can start to see some things happening here. And before the show started today, again, we're filming this on the 27th, Friday. We just passed the $2 trillion legislation bill. Q actually put this out right now. This is not another 4-year election. You click on this Twitter link, and this comes up. Rest in peace, Federal Reserve. This is huge. This scheme essentially merges Fed and Treasury into one organization. So this will be basically getting rid of the Federal Reserve now, and everything's going to start going. Like, I was starting to wonder, okay, you people are at home, you can't make money, you can't pay your bills, it's going to go into this big depression thing. But if we got to get rid of the old systems, why not just bring the whole damn thing down? Yeah, just print the thing and just bring it down. This is something I want to mention here too. This was in the original bill. They wanted to create a digital dollar, and that Federal Reserve was going to have access to that digital dollar. They were working on this to make this the cashless society, and then they could just manipulate it digitally. Oh, we'll just subtract some money out of there and just bring people to their knees. That was all in the original bill. Luckily, that got pulled out at the last minute. This was here too, an anonymous. I seen this on Twitter before. I saw the Q post backing some of the stuff up. Mnuchin just bankrupted the Fed, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, etc. Shits that started anon. The market liquidity is now controlled by Steven Mnuchin and the Treasury Department. That also means we own all central bank requests for credit for all 186 foreign nations. Folks, a powerful transfer just went down. The world just went from asking the Rothschilds for credit swaps to asking Steve Mnuchin and the Treasury for credit swaps. Again, here's another article about all these National Guard getting into place. I was a little like, when you come from researching with, if right now I'm trying to like look at everything at all angles. Like, I've been listening to a little bit of Alex Jones, see what he's like. Well, he's like off the rails. Like, this is martial law. Everything's going to shit. But it's like, if you don't see the other stuff, like of the new monetary system, you don't see how the old system has to crash before the new system can come in. You're going to start thinking that and getting all scared and paranoid. What's really interesting is when you see these National Guards, like even these ships that just took off, the 2 ships with the red crosses on the East Coast and the West Coast, like the National Guard that's on there, they're not wearing masks. So you got to ask yourself, why is that? So that, is there like some kind of a antidote that they have that they're just trying? I don't know. There's so many questions here. It's crazy. And then not to mention the earthquakes that have been taking place in California. The rumor is that there's a lot of underground military bases that they have been striking with weather weapons to bring these down. It's insane. And then we also have all these CEOs stepping down. Look at all these. MGM, Nestle, eBay, IBM, Microsoft, Hulu, Disney, Nissan. And speaking of the storm, this has happened also. Mike Flynn has changed his banner up on top, ladies and gentlemen, to show what happens when you see a yellow sky. The storm is coming. The question is, when is that storm going to hit? And I think it's fairly soon. I want to show this. Yeah, the silent war countdown. So now this is really interesting. So Q has been putting dots after the silent war continues. This started on February 5th of this year. It started with 5 dots, then the 6th, 5 dots, 8th, 4 dots, 12th, 3 dots, 25th, 2 dots, March 26th, 2 dots. It's counting down like, and if you go by this timetable, it's going to be like really soon. Like soon. And what this signifies to me is it's not going to be a silent war, it'll be public. So we'll see when that rolls. One thing during this electrical 10 days of darkness that we've been talking about, we've been kind of worried about, well, are they going to shut the power off and stuff? Well, Q has said that this is not going to, the power won't go out, but we're looking at like maybe an internet thing. There's also talk of like a government shutdown too, if you will, because it's going to start infecting all these members, which it already has started. in the House and the Senate, and then they won't even be able to gather. And by the way, you start seeing big names like this, Prince Charles testing positive. So this is getting like with a guy that has so much money, protection, he could easily just sit in his castle, have everybody tested when they come in, and now he's got it. Now we can start connecting the dots here, and let's bring up the adrenochrome of how this works. There's some really deep stuff here. So in a nutshell, we're gonna talk it here. If you're a little squeamish, I'm sorry, this has to be taught. This is big stuff here. So adrenochrome is basically the blood of children, and now what happens here is these elites, these celebrities, Podesta, if you will, they've been tying kids up, getting them scared, and then at that point they'll bleed them. This is sick stuff, folks. Drink their blood, and this is what keeps them youthful. And it's some very, very sick stuff. Interesting thing here, it's insane. This isn't the exact, I know it says here that this is where the virus originated from, but this is actually a different plant in Shanghai. It's still kind of, well, I think they say 500 miles. But still, when you got a company that has the same logo as the Umbrella Corporation and Resident Evil, and you get a virus that it's some sick stuff, and it's like, let's be honest here, they're vampires, literally and figuratively, and what do they got to do? They got to put it in front of you, they got to get permission before they do what they need to do. As it says here, the adrenochrome produced in the Wuhan facility was infected with a special variant of mass-release coronavirus variant. Those who took the tainted adrenochrome will be blood tested and proven in a court of law that they were taking adrenochrome from the Wuhan lab. What do we got here? We got Lady Gaga, ladies and gentlemen. She wrote, "Beware, vampires. The blood you choose to suck, choose wisely. It may fill your pores from inside out with a wicked poison unknown to you. Perhaps you took a bite of flesh you can't handle. Perhaps I am also a vampire, or a new creature, undead you have yet to meet." See, a lot of this, it seems like, what the hell is she talking about? A lot of people like, useless idiots, they don't understand like what's really going on here. And then it's kind of secret double talk, and we'll get into more of this, of the celebrities, what they do so they can communicate with each other. So basically she's saying that the blood has been tainted, the stuff they've been drinking to keep youthful, and their whole thing in their inner circle. And by the way, in that video, remember there was a part in there where it showed them eating basically this cake. It looked like a person, but it was like a cake, so they're basically carnivores at this gathering. And that's so sick. Like, why would you do that? I mean, even if it was a Halloween thing, maybe, but it's like, nobody's dressed up like Halloween. So this here says the coronavirus is a cover-up for the largest U.S. military intelligence operation the world has ever known. The plan is to totally shut down the entire globe, make massive arrests, move evil in governments, bankers, globalist elites, Hollywood, and sports stars that are involved at Epstein Island and other islands. Also, many other massive scandals, remove the fiat currency and go to gold-backed currency. Global currency reset. Then activate Nasara we've been talking about, law which wipes out all debt, releases us into Tesla's future. Gives us 6,000 medical cures, free energy, and many other beautiful things the way it should have been. There will be up to a 6-week closure of everything. Military will lead the way. Okay, so the adrenochrome, this is, what is this? The makeup of it? And it basically looks like a white rabbit. And what does Q say? Follow the white rabbit. This leads to all of it. Not a coincidence when the U.S. Army officer, he goes in front of the rabbit. It's the exact same. Look at the hands here. You got blue on it's our left, and then red on the right. Signaling that there's more going on here. They know, and they're bringing this thing down. So just to give people reassurance here, because I always go back and forth myself. It's like, oh, maybe Q's not doing stuff right. Whatever. You kind of go back and forth, and it's taking forever. This is a big proof right here for me that they know, and they're obsessed with that rabbit, and the rabbit basically is the adrenochrome. Google, so the Google Chrome logo, 666, of course, if you break it down. And then they just came out with the GPU, which is Adreno. and then you put chrome together, adrenochrome. It's like, so going into celebrities now, you kind of wonder, okay, are these arrests going to occur? What's going on here? We got Ellen here with this really weird message she put on Instagram. Let's let this play.
Deck of cards, okay? They're all different. You can see that. I can't see them. I don't know what card is what. I'm going to pick a card. I'm going to call it out, and then I'm going to just find it, okay? 4 of hearts. 6 of hearts. It's very close. I'm going to try it 2 more times. 4 of hearts. 6 of diamonds. 1 more time. 4 of hearts. All right. Try to figure something out. That's not working.
Seems like an innocent enough video, like, oh, she's just playing around. Why does she keep wanting 4 of hearts? Let's look up what 4 of hearts means. 4 of hearts brings bad news. In commodity, its symbolism used to warn the consultant about upcoming danger. Its negative dimension refers to the world of feelings and emotions. This card relates to short-term situations, indicates a betrayal that is about to happen. Depending on the reading, the betrayal can be more. But what she's basically saying here is that there's betrayal and warning others in the circle that know about this black magic. They use, you know, cards and stuff. They know about these secret languages, and it's a subtle way to do it. Also note here, her shirt says Run Forest. This is a tip of the hat to Tom Hanks, that he better get out of Dodge. And also look at this O here. That's the boy lover logo. It's got that swirl. This is also interesting. It looks like, this is not the best picture. Let me see if I can zoom it back to make it a little higher res. It looks like she's got an ankle bracelet on right here. Unless she's a concealed carry holder, which this better be coming down. Like, I see these proofs and it definitely helps. The thing we also got to remember here is that Q has access to Project Looking Glass, so they know. So when they do a move, they can counter move it. We always know, like, even with the things about having these dates, like back in 2017, like, how could they know that this would happen now? They can do that with the Looking Glass. By the way, if anybody's watching right now, Google is basically uncensored, so you can search for stuff and get what you're looking for. This is not an accident. This has been done with Q, and even when Trump comes out and says Google's working with us, when they talked about that app, it's part of the subtle things that he's giving you clues about. So what we're getting at here is Tom Hanks, for those listening, is in a room here. He's got a picture of him and his wife. There's a barcode on the door trim, and that signifies government property there, is what we're thinking. And he's been taking these pictures of this typewriter, and also Madonna had the same picture of this typewriter. I'm not going to get too much into this, but it's interesting to see, like, it almost looks like a more confined room. It doesn't really look like a luxury room to me. I guess the sink might be kind of, but it seems like, okay, so he's got a typewriter in the bathroom? That doesn't really make sense. One thing you got to ask yourself is, he's in confinement, why is he allowed to take pictures and tweet out? Okay, so this was on Twitter. This was like a paying site, so it's kind of hard to confirm. This is arrest records for California. Right here we see Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, age 63, locations Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, all the stuff you would suspect. And we got Elizabeth Ann Hanks, which is actually his daughter, with under the relatives section, and that's all there is. But you go to view results, and there wasn't really much under there, because there was another tweet about showing what happens when you click that link, and there wasn't really anything there. I know we get our hopes up sometimes, and it's like, I think all this shit's coming down right now. If for some people that might not have seen it when Trump was giving a press statement, I like to wait for these little signals that he's with us and all, like things like this. And this, he basically talks about Pompeo going to the Deep State Department. I think this was great. Let's play this for everybody.
Him to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any question? Please.
And And he'll give little treats like that once in a while. I always wait for those, but that's something I love seeing that stuff. Now, when is this all going to end? Because we're all like, when we just brought up the Q map thing, showing looks like around Easter, and here we got Trump again saying that he wants to do the Easter time frame.
Date where you think America can be working again, and that's Easter Sunday. That's 19 days from now. How did you come up with that day?
Well, it's 19 days, but add another 7 because we've been doing this now for 7. So that's from the time we heard about it.
7 to 9.
From the time so from the time we close it up. So you could add 7 to 9. Look, Easter's a very special day for me. And I see it sort of in that timeline that I'm thinking about. And I say, wouldn't it be great to have all of the churches full? You know, the churches aren't allowed, essentially, to have much of a congregation there. And most of them I watched on Sunday online. And he was terrific, by the way. But online is never going to be like being there. So I think Easter Sunday, and you'll have packed churches all over our country. I think it would be a beautiful time. And it's just about the timeline that I think is right. It gives us more chance to work on what we're doing. And I'm not sure that's going to be the day, but I would love to aim it right at Easter Sunday. So we're open for church service and services generally on Easter Sunday. That would be a beautiful thing.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
What does Q always like to tweet out? This was this video here. It's going to be biblical. And that, basically, when you click on that link, it's a movie, and the character says that, and he's gonna bring the whole frickin' thing down. So yeah, so again, just to reiterate, folks, if this goes down the way it's gonna happen, we're gonna be in a 10 days of darkness, no communication. That will be the signal. You also have Trump. That's where I get confused about the 10 days of darkness, because if communications are gonna be down, how can Trump tweet? I guess he could do it in emergency broadcast, but it's not. It did say look to Twitter though on the post. Before I close out, I want to show a couple clips from there was a Space Force, basically a press conference, if you will. Couple good questions that I caught, and this was I just did this today as I was trying to scroll through it. Area 51 comes up, and he kind of just gives it a nice little.
Well, thank you, General. Thanks for doing this. You had mentioned that Space Force is shortly going to be renaming some bases. Is Area 51 going to be renamed, and will the media be allowed to attend the ceremony? Thank you.
Area 51 is not on the list to be renamed. I'd have to defer that to the Air Force.
Would we see some non-kinetic missile defense weapons, such as, I would say, directed energy satellite?
Let me just say that it is clear that space is a contested domain, and that's why standing up the United States Space Force, establishing the Space Force, and establishing U.S. Space Command is so critical to our nation and to our allied partners. We will protect and defend. In our national security strategy, it says assured access to space is a vital national interest, and that we're going to protect and defend those capabilities from anybody that may choose to do those harm. We're prepared to do that today, and that is our focus. On the missile defense piece, our role in the missile defense is to provide the unblinking eye, if you will, for warning against any missile launches. We do that today. We do that 24/7, and we provide that not just for the United States, but for our allied partners as well.
So you got him coming out and saying, do we got these directed energy weapons to help protect us, basically? And then he says, basically, you don't have to worry about it. We got you covered. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys later.